Have you ever carried a pistol for years and then wondered if it might secretly be worth a small fortune? Some everyday CCW guns are quietly shooting up in value right now, turning ordinary carry pieces into surprising investments. And you do not want to miss which ones are already climbing. In today's video, we reveal 20 pistols that are becoming super expensive. And stick around until number 1, because the last entry could already be sitting in your safe. Number 20, Colt New Agent. The Colt New Agent was never flashy, but it was built for one job: deep concealment with 45 ACP punch. Introduced in the late 2000s, this ultra-slim 1911 variant came with trench sights instead of traditional irons, making it incredibly snag-free for inside-the-waistband carry. It featured an alloy frame, 3-inch barrel, and 7-round capacity, all wrapped in a minimalist, no-nonsense package. Shooters either loved or hated the sight system, but that controversy only added to its legacy. The New Agent was discontinued quietly, but demand hasn't been quiet at all. Prices are climbing, especially for original tallow editions or factory two-tone variants with minimal wear. It's compact, discontinued, and slowly disappearing from the used market. And wait until you see what Glock did with the next one. Number 19, Glock 43 pre-43X era. The Glock 43 was the brand's first true single-stack 9mm. And when it hit the shelves in 2015, it instantly became a bestseller. But that original model, the one before the 43X came along, might just be the future sleeper of the Glock world. It was thinner, lighter, and far more minimalist, appealing to hardcore concealment fans. Chambered in 9mm with a 6-round mag, the G43 was easy to carry, but tough to shoot fast. And that challenge, it might be exactly why collectors are holding on to early serials, especially the US-made and Austrian frame variants. The newer 43X and 48 models have stolen the spotlight, pushing the OG 43 quietly into retirement, and collectors are starting to notice. Number 18, Walther PPK-S Inter-Arms Import. There's something timeless about the Walther PPK-S, and the Inter-Arms imported versions from the 70s and 80s are finally catching fire. These 380 ACP pistols were made in the U.S. under license during a golden era of gun craftsmanship, often featuring high-polished bluing, wrap-around grips, and steel construction that feels rock-solid. Unlike the newer CNC-cut versions, these Inter-Arms models have hand-fitted charm and old-world fit. Collectors are especially eyeing early serial numbers, boxed versions, and the ones with factory test targets. While values hovered around $400 for years, clean examples now routinely cross $700 and are inching higher. It's small, classy, and comes with that unmistakable Bond mystique. And unlike mass-produced modern Walthers, these aren't getting any easier to find. Number 17, Smith & Wesson Model 649 Bodyguard 357. The Model 649 is a stainless steel evolution of the classic J-frame, and its shrouded hammer design makes it one of the most versatile carry revolvers ever made. Chambered in .357 Magnum, it offers big power and a small footprint, but what really makes it special is its duality. You can fire it single or double action, yet still draw it clean from a pocket or holster. Built with a solid frame, no internal lock, and old-school S&W craftsmanship. Early pre-lock 649s are commanding attention. Values are on the rise, especially for clean examples from the 1980s and early 90s, with pinned barrels and factory wood grips. These were built for hard use, but collectors are now treating them like heirlooms. Number 16, Taurus PT 709 Slim. Taurus might not be the first brand that comes to mind for investment, But the PT-709 Slim is quietly building a reputation among budget CCW collectors. This single-stack 9mm was lightweight, thin, and featured a surprisingly decent trigger for its price point. With a 7+1 capacity, manual safety, and aggressive texturing, it carved out a loyal following before being discontinued. That's where things get interesting, because production stopped abruptly. The used market tightened, and now clean examples are getting harder to find. While they once sold for under $200, prices are slowly creeping past $300 for gently used, low-round count pistols. It's not flashy, it's not fancy, but in the world of oddball appreciation, the PT-709 might just be the next cheap gun that turns into a collector's curiosity. Number 15, Sig Sauer P250 Subcompact. The SIG P250 Subcompact was ahead of its time, and nobody noticed. It featured a fully modular fire control unit long before the P320 took over the market, allowing users to swap calibers, grip sizes, and slide lengths with ease. Chambered in 9mm or 40 S&W, it was DAO only, with a smooth, consistent trigger pull and clean lines that made it ideal for concealed carry. But the market wasn't ready, and the P250 quietly discontinued. Now those same forgotten subcompacts are becoming targets for collectors chasing early modular systems. Factory two-tone models, rare calibers like 357 SIG, and full kits with extra grip modules are gaining traction. It may have flopped in stores, but the P250 Subcompact is quietly building value in the secondary market. Number 14, Beretta Nano BU9. Beretta's first foray into the striker-fired Micro 9 segment was the BU9 Nano, a tiny snag-free pistol with clean lines, no external slide stop, and modular internals. Released in the early 2010s, it was compact, innovative, and way ahead of the Glock 43 or SIG P365. But it wasn't perfect. The trigger was heavy, early models had ejection issues, and the market quickly moved on. That said, collectors are starting to revisit the Nano for what it was, Beretta's bold experiment into modern carry guns. Since it's now discontinued and didn't sell in large numbers, mint-condition examples, especially with original boxes and papers, are starting to command premiums. It may not have been a bestseller, but the Nano's rarity and design quirks are giving it a second life. Number 13, Springfield Armory XDS 3.3 45 ACP First Gen. The first generation XDS 3.3-inch 45 ACP was a bold move, a slim, single-stack pistol that packed serious punch without the bulk. It featured a 3.3-inch barrel, fiber optic front sight, grip safety, and ultra-thin profile that made it a hit among those who wanted full-caliber firepower in a true concealment package. But it wasn't without its hiccups. Early models were subject to recalls, and Spill later revised the design with the Mod 2 update. That's exactly why the original XDS 3.3 is gaining collector interest. Discontinued and replaced, the first gens are now seen as limited-run oddities. Clean examples with recall paperwork, original mags, and factory casings are starting to sell above their old price points. It's compact history, and collectors are catching on. Number 12, Glock 26 Gen 2.5. The Glock 26 Gen 2.5 is one of those in-between guns that most people overlook until they realize how weird and collectible it really is. Sitting right between the Gen 2 and Gen 3 eras, this version of the G26 had the Gen 3 frame with finger grooves, but no accessory rail, a unique transitional design that Glock only used briefly. Chambered in 9mm with a 10-round capacity, it was compact, reliable, and popular among concealed carriers. But now, collectors are targeting these half-generation Glocks for their rarity. Look for early serial numbers, matching boxes, and minimal holster wear. Prices are already ticking up past standard Gen 3 models, and once Glock fans catch on, These traditional babies won't stay cheap for long. Number 11, Smith & Wesson M&P Shield 1.0 with no safety. When Smith & Wesson launched the M&P Shield in 2012, it quickly became a benchmark for affordable, reliable concealed carry. But not all shields are created equal. Early first-generation models without the thumb safety are becoming collector favorites, especially among those who value minimalist design and factory originality. Chambered in 9mm or 40 S&W, the Shield 1.0 featured a slim profile, 7 or 8 round magazine, and clean brake trigger that was improved over time. But it's the early no-safety runs that are getting attention. These represent the purest form of the design before S&W began offering multiple variants. Unfired or unboxed models with early serial numbers and old packaging are pulling stronger resale numbers, especially as later versions phase them out entirely. It's a CCW classic with growing collector cred. Number 10, Kimber Solo Carry. The Kimber Solo Carry was a beautiful mistake. Compact, stylish, and chambered in 9mm, but notoriously picky for ammo and plagued by reliability complaints. Released in the early 2010s, it had a stainless steel frame, aluminum side, and crisp aesthetics that made it feel more like a luxury pocket pistol than a workhorse. It also had one of the shortest production runs of Kimber's catalog due to those early issues. That limited run is now turning into a selling point. Collectors are picking up clean solo carry models, especially the two-tone and CDP variants, with prices climbing as supply dries up. You'll see them listed used for well under $600. But the boxed, mint condition examples are now inching closer to 4 figures. For better or worse, this gun left an impression, and that's what collectors chase. Number 9, Ruger SP-101 in 327 Federal Magnum. The Ruger SP-101 is already a rock-solid revolver, but the rare 327 Federal Magnum chambering pushes it into collector territory. Introduced as a modern high-pressure cartridge with more punch than 38 Special and more capacity than 357 Magnum, the 327 FM never fully caught on. But that scarcity only adds to its charm today. The SP-101 variant came with a 3-inch barrel, stainless finish, and 6-round capacity in a compact frame, making it a sweet spot for power and portability. Because the cartridge was never a mainstream hit, Ruger didn't produce many in this configuration. Now, collectors are scooping up low-round count models, especially those with original boxes and manuals. It's a revolver that straddles the line between practical and obscure, and that's where value tends to grow. Number 8, Kahr K9 Elite. The Kahr K9 Elite is a stainless steel, hammerless, double-action only pistol that feels more like a custom-built carry piece than a production gun. Built with solid stainless construction and legendary smooth triggers, the Elite versions of the K9 feature polished finishes, beveled edges, and night sights that made them stand out from the already premium Kahr lineup. Chambered in 9mm with a 7+1 capacity, it was compact, yet hefty, the kind of pistol that disappears under a jacket but feels like a tank in the hand. These were never mass-produced, and the Elite variants in particular were limited in number and often overlooked. Now that polymer frames dominate the CCC world, collectors are circling back to these all-metal classics, and prices are slowly ticking upward for mint examples with original cases. Number 7, CZ 2075 Rami. The CZ 2075 Rami was a compact, double-stack pistol that packed old-world Czech engineering into a tiny carry package. Offered in both alloy and polymer frame versions, it was chambered in 9mm or 40 S&W and featured a traditional DASA trigger, ambidextrous safety, and surprisingly good ergonomics for its time. But despite its build quality and cult following, the Rami was quietly discontinued, making it an increasingly hot target for CCW collectors. Alloy-framed models with night sights or factory rubber grips are especially sought after, and those with original hard cases and mags are climbing in value fast. It's not just rare, it's one of the few discontinued subcompacts that still holds its own against modern Micro 9s. Prices are already rising, and the best examples are drying up. Number 6. Colt Mustang Pocket Elite. Small, sleek, and all metal, the Colt Mustang Pocket Elite is one of those pistols that hides big value in a tiny frame. Chambered in .380 ACP with a 6-round capacity, it brought the 1911 style down to pocket size, complete with a single-action trigger and thumb safety. The Pocket Light variant used an aluminum alloy frame to cut weight, making it ideal for deep concealment while still delivering the Colt name and feel. Discontinued for a stretch before being reintroduced, it's the original models from the late 80s and early 90s that are catching collectors' eyes. Clean, early serials and boxed variants with original grips are already trending above $700 and moving steadily upward. It's a little piece of Colt history that's still starting to punch above its class and value. Number 5. Beretta 85S 380 Cheetah. The Beretta 85F, part of the iconic Cheetah series, combines Italian design with old-school elegance in a compact .380 ACP platform. It features a slim, single-stack magazine, exposed hammer, open slide design, and a buttery smooth DASA trigger system that made it a favorite for both concealment and casual range time. While Beretta recently revived the Cheetah line with the new 80X, it's the original 85F models from the 80s and 90s that collectors are chasing. Marked with Made in Italy and built with all-metal construction, these pistols represent a level of craftsmanship that's getting harder to find. Mint condition 85Fs, especially with wood grips or nickel finishes, are climbing toward the $800 mark, and as more people rediscover their charm, prices may go even higher. Number 4. Walther PPS M1. Before the PPS M2 took over, the original PPS M1 was Walther's flagship single-stack carry pistol, and is quickly becoming a collectible in its own right. Chambered in 9mm or 40 S&W, the PPS M1 featured a unique removable backstrap system that doubled as a striker decocker, a slim profile, and exceptional ergonomics for a gun its size. It also had a more angular Teutonic design compared to the rounded look of the M2, which some shooters still prefer. Since the M1 was discontinued and production shifted to the updated model, interest in early PPS variants has grown steadily. Factory night sight models, LE editions, and German proof-marked guns are already fetching premiums on the used market. It's a carry pistol with an edge, and collectors are starting to remember why. Number 3. Sig Sauer P239. The Sig P239 was a purpose-built single-stack pistol designed for concealed carry without sacrificing shootability, and it did exactly that. Chambered in 9mm, 40 S&W or 357 SIG, it featured a metal frame, DASA trigger system, and classic SIG reliability in a slimmer profile. Federal agents and law enforcement units loved it for off-duty use, and while it was never flashy, it built a loyal following. Then SIG discontinued it quietly, focusing more on polymer and striker-fired offerings. That move lit a fire under the secondary market. P239s with low round counts, factory night sights, and rare caliber variants are being scooped up fast. Especially valuable are the two-tone and SAS editions. What used to be a workhorse is now a low-key collector's item, with prices creeping toward the $900 mark. Number 2. Glock 19 Gen 3 Made in Austria frame. The Glock 19 Gen 3 might still be in production, but the early Made in Austria frame stamp variants are quietly gaining collector heat. These early imports feature original frame textures, non-rail to dust covers on some runs, and internal parts that Glock fans love to nitpick over. Chambered in 9mm with a 15-round capacity, it's arguably the most popular CCW pistol of all time. But not all Gen 3s are equal. Collectors are hunting down Austrian marked frames, especially those with matching Tupperware boxes and early serial numbers. These pre-USA production units are starting to break away in price from standard Gen 3s, with mint examples already selling above $700 and trending upward. In a sea of Glocks, these early-run Gen 3s are turning into quiet gold. Number 1, Smith & Wesson Model 3913. Ladysmith and Standard. The Smith & Wesson 3913 is one of the most beloved third-generation autos ever built, and is finally getting its due on the collector market. Chambered in 9mm with a 8+1 capacity, this single-stack pistol featured an alloy frame, slim profile, and ultra-smooth DASA trigger. It was a favorite among plainclothes policemen and serious CCW users throughout the 90s. But what's really driving demand now is the Ladysmith variant, with its roll mark, curved dust cover, and stainless finish. These versions were limited in production and highly distinctive. Today, clean Ladysmiths or early production 3913s with factory box and papers can pull north of $1,000, and they're getting harder to find each year. It's the perfect blend of function, beauty, and history, and collectors have taken notice. Check out our next video where we reveal 20 revolvers that are rising in value in America as of 2025.